Hey, it's Andy with the Reverb Tone Report, and today I'm checking out 4 new pedals from Universal Audio. These are compact UAFX that all borrow from the larger format pedals we've seen, so they're high quality but just in a more stripped down format with just some really easy to use functionality. So let's check them out and then get into the sounds. These 4 new pedals offer honest emulations that end up going beyond the capabilities of the original hardware, thanks to various modes and bonus features on the back of the pedal. Orion is a UAFX Tape Echo utilizing the same high-quality algorithm as their Starlight Echo pedal, which replicates the tones and nuances of the famed EP-III Echoplex to a T. Key ingredients like wow and flutter via the wonk control and 3 selectable tape ages take Orion from factory fresh to basement treasure. But the question on your mind is answered by looking at the back of Orion, where you get to impart the fat boost and coloration from the famous Tape Echo preamp onto your instrument's dry signal. The 1176 pedal stems from Universal Audio's original peak limiter from the late 60s. Also based on the Max Pedal's FET mode, this mono version provides everything from subtle tightening to endless sustain, thanks to 3 modes that give you single or dual compression in series. Essential controls like input and output levels plus attack and release times are included, not to mention ratio and the famous all buttons pressed in selection. Thanks to the rear switch, you can even engage a parallel mix of dry signal on any mode. When it comes to studio reverb, UAFX lays it out into 2 main camps, plate reverb and vintage digital reverb. Heavenly spawns from the Golden Reverberator and gives you classic German-made plate reverb plus modern sounds with a fuller sound and plenty of adjustable modulation. Important pre-delay is also available up to 250 milliseconds, while EQ can fine-tune the plate to be brighter or darker. Evermore is a faithful emulation of the early 12-bit digital reverbs of the late 70s and stems from the Hall 224 algorithm. Full of character and often gritty in texture, Evermore has a wide range of spaces including room and 2 halls, large and small. Evermore stays true to the original hardware by giving you bass, middle, and treble decay controls, which are highly interactive and slightly addictive. Plus, you can top it off with glossy modulation and even engage some pre-delay at the rear panel. Be sure to check out all 4 of these new compact UAFX right here on Reverb. Let's start with my favorite Tape Echo and go through the 3 different tape ages with that toggle switch, and then I'll introduce a little bit more wow and flutter with that wonk control. little more record level, which is going to actually add some more compression and grit to that virtual tape in there. It's also going to kind of make the delay signal a bit louder, so you might want to back off on the mix when increasing the input strength. So that's the fresh tape, and you can tell because it has a lot of high-end clarity. Let's move down to an older tape, which is going to kind of shave off some high-end. And as we introduce a bit more of the wonk or wow and flutter, you're going to hear a lot more dropouts and some kind of random tape modulation. And now the old tape, and it's going to be pretty obvious what's happening here with the modulation and just kind of the lower fidelity of the repeats. And now let's check out the effect that the preamp has on the dry signal. You notice now that the LED is green, and that's because I've turned it off with the back panel. So I'm just going to A/B a setting using a longer delay. The last setting I want to show you here on the Orion is using the new tape setting, but I'm also going to use plenty of wonk for some modulation and tape style dropouts, kind of like mimicking the splice on the tape as it goes around the head. And then also a lot of the input strength, so it's going to be kind of a grungier signal, but a wider frequency range since we're on the new tape setting. And this is really going to help us get into that self-oscillation with high feedback settings. Let's start off with just a single 1176, and I'm going to be using a fast attack and a slow release, so it's really going to grab onto the notes and hold on to that volume control for a long time. That's that release. And I'm just going to be using a little bit of input strength, so you'll notice that the LED won't go red too often. So that was kind of a subtle setting. Let's go the other way and dial in a setting that you could really hear, kind of like your classic stomp box compressor. So I'm going to increase the input signal as well as the ratio and really speed up that attack time. So you're probably starting to hear some of that harmonic crunch that is inherent in the 1176 when you increase the input gain. Now let's go to mode 2, where this is really embellished because we have now all of a sudden 2 units running into each other in series, and that's again going after that black dog sound, which is straight into a console. So let's compare modes 2 and 3, which is, one's dirtier than the other, but actually the cleaner sound is going to give you more sustain. I was also sneaking in a little bit of plate reverb there, so let's just jump to the Heavenly next. I'm going to start with mode A, which is a vintage style plate. It's a little bit brighter, so I'm going to be using a little bit more of the EQ to kind of fine tune the sound to match with the single coils. there's a little bit of pre-delay, so it's going to actually have some delay in between the time you hit the strings and the time you hear the reverb. We can make it brighter or darker. And that's the bright setting, remember. So let's keep the EQ flat and go over to the darker plate. And these are both vintage style plate reverbs from the 50s. In addition to these humbuckers, I've also got a little overdrive going into the Heavenly, and again, we'll play around with the pre-delay and also check out how the mod knob can help us out. Let's check out that third and final mode, which is more of a modern plate and has a lot more fidelity and decay on tap. So I've only increased the decay of the mid-range frequencies, but of course, like I mentioned, all these are really interactive. So if you cut a lot of treble, you're going to just cut the overall decay of the reverb sound. Let's try some other settings, really increase the just the size of this thing with the bass frequencies, and then try the other modes, the 2 different halls. You could hear that modulation really interacting with those long tails. Let's switch over to the larger hall. We also have one more parameter to tweak, and that's the pre-delay switch on the back of the Evermore. And I'm going to try some really long tails here, but I'm going to keep things tight and avoid some of that self-oscillation just by backing off on the bass decay knob. Well, there you have it. 2 studio reverbs, some classic tape echo, and a whole lot of compression. And it's all from UAFX in their new compact form factor. You can check them out all right here on Reverb. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.